Now that Mr. Hector has arrived, we can get started. Sue, would you do roll call, please?
Yes. President Davidson,
Present.
Vice President Ricketts, myself, Sue Martucci, Treasurer Hunsaker, Director Bardell, Director Gundry,
Here.
Director Hector, Director Shaw.
Here.
We have a quorum. Barbara Sabe. All right, we have a quorum.
And I call the meeting to order. It is 9:34 a.m. And would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started on the meeting today, I would like to welcome our new board members, and I will start down to my far left with Jim Gundry, who represents District 2, Ray Shaw, who represents District 9, Shirley Bardell, who represents District 7, and then to my right is Ray Hunsinger, who represents District 1. And last but not least is Sue Martucci, who represents District 8. For anyone who did not see the email that was blasted out, the new officers for the 22-23 year are myself as president, Tom Ricketts as vice president, Sue Martucci as secretary, and Ray Hunsaker as treasurer. And with that, in your package, there is the minutes from the March 4th board meeting. I would look for a motion to approve the minutes. Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The minutes for the March 4th board meeting are approved. We'll now turn to the management. Preference? Okay, Janice.
Good morning, and welcome and congratulations to all our new board members. Look forward to working with you all, and we've been sharing some stories, so day one. Just I want to note, timing is everything, obviously, with the board meeting being on April 1st. I just want to thank all of the managers for Vesta who were crunching their usage data for me and sending out reports late last night. So we've done our best to get as much information as accurately as possible on our report, and I'll just move through these numbers. As you can see for March, we have a winner here at 10,868 visits to the Kings Point Fitness Program. That is the highest gym usage we have ever reported in 25 years. So people were out and working on their health and fitness. We've got a 40% increase over prior month in the water classes, and land is also up. Total classes taught here on the campus, 201 for the month of March, which was 26% over the prior month. It's going to be a common theme as I go through this, because obviously this is our biggest month for season, and it's represented across all of the amenity usage. In the spa and salon, you can see here, interesting numbers here. The clients served was just about the same as the prior month, except the services performed were 10% higher, meaning all those same people were just getting more services or treatments. And the sales and merchandise sales were represented that at 11% over prior month. We only achieved 92% of the monthly budgeted plan. It was a very aggressive plan, as you've heard me say, but still a rockin' and rollin' month over there at the spa. Now, let's get to food and beverage. We served just shy of 11,000 patrons in the month of March, and this number of total sales, over $221,000, is 25% increase over the prior month. Last month, with 21% increase over the prior month. And so it's about 23% favorable to plan. And again, I just want to acknowledge the team and the efforts. And, you know, we've done some new programming and we're offering some new stuff. And I just want to thank all the membership for supporting it and coming out. And hopefully the hits will keep coming. And we'll be working with the board some more on doing some new exciting stuff. La Perque sales, you can see there, that's also an increase of 30%. Still the same average, we just served more people. But we've got some ideas that we're gonna present as well to the board on how to increase some traffic usage there. On our project update, the South Club Pool Deck Expansion Project, still plugging along here, what we call phase 1 of the Tiki Bar renovation underway. We're still waiting on that pesky, Victoria's very positive young lady. She is inching that percentage of approval along with the county. We're at 98%. It was applied for in November. So we're now going out to bid or RFP process for what she calls phase 1.5, which will include some concrete in front of the bar and around the palms, some fence pole removal, conduit for the lighting and gates, and landscaping being added back in. And to come is phase 2, which will include the shade structure and pool resurfacing and new furniture. And we're chomping at I believe it's champing at the bit to get this open, hopefully by the end of the summer. The Maine Club AC planned replacements are underway. I think I drove in this morning and there were 2 units out there. They're getting ready to install those. And we have not heard any new news on the new tram, still slated for the end of this year. The 25-ton HVAC unit replacement, I've mentioned this a number of times. The original unit ordered was arrived damaged. They immediately ordered a new one. It's still in transit. Due to this delay, we'll be requesting transfer of these funds later in the meeting. Jack, we'll be doing that, the transfer, at a later time in the meeting. The special events, we have been very successful. We look for end-of-the-year numbers on that to share. The team has added 2 new concerts, and theater director and the special event team is looking forward to the Eagles and Billy Joel coming. Those are in about a week and a half. The winter series is being finalized, so look for upcoming we're doing videos to promote those this year, along with the brochure. And summer series ticket sales are underway. We got a Queen's Luncheon coming up April 6th, and the last day of the market is April 6th, out there in the fields by pickleball. But I understand Matthew is trying to work with the vendor of providing some summer dates, so he will get that message out with his team if they are able to confirm that. Brandon Ballet on April 9th. And then COVID-19, we haven't had this in the news, thankfully, for a while, but we have had requests for adding another booster day. The CDC and FDA have recommended a 4th dose to prevent against waning protections. Don't know how far you are along with the project of getting that program in Kings Point, but we'll let you all know as soon as we know. And then finally, the monthly dinner is on April 25th. In the tram operations, we had a 16% increase over prior month, just like everywhere else. People are out and about moving around. And board, you will note there is an error on your security data, total phone calls. You ready? Over 11,004 phone calls came in the month of March. Highest call volume was on March 17th, and we issued 15,239 passes for the month of March, a 2% increase over what was already a very busy February. You've heard me talk about the fabled 15. Well, this is the 15,000 mark that we get to in season. 36 incident reports, and finally, just a couple of notables. Resident called the gate to inform security of some damage to a carport by an Amazon van. The damage was witnessed by a resident, but they weren't able to get the tag information. One of Kings Point vendors, Knox Aluminum, was generous enough to come out and repair the minor damage at no cost to the association. So shout out to Knox Aluminum, and that was kind of them to do that. During the month of March, none of the welfare checks conducted by security resulted in any bad news, so I'm glad to report there were no incidents with welfare checks. When we did go out there, the worried, this is when somebody, a family member, somebody up north, whatever, calls in and says, hey, my uncle, my grandfather, whomever, my mom isn't answering the phone, could you go check on them? All the residents were either out enjoying the numerous Kings Point amenities. Some of them had dead phones that they had not charged, and some residents just didn't want to talk to them. So, and that's not even an April Fool's joke. So, that's my report.
Any questions of Ginger from the board? Then I will call upon Mr. Wilking to give his report from First Service.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, new board. I know it's been a busy week for all of you. Lots of meetings, lots of new items to learn. So welcome again, and happy April 1st. Just again a note for the board that we do check to make sure you guys are owners of your units and you're paying your dues. So everybody's again still all in line with their dues. A couple of quick administrative stats for the month of March for First Service. We had 68 transfers this month, which was the highest so far this year. We had 37 leases. We took 3,522 phone calls, made 644 pest control appointments, and had almost 1,255 walk-ins to the front office. We conducted 52 orientations. We only updated 28 emergency contact forms. Those are starting to fall off after the meeting season. We submitted 54 alteration requests, only issued 12 violations, and processed almost 300 invoices, and drew up 9 new contracts. Just under insurance quickly, we have some gentlemen here from USI today that will be giving a presentation on all the policies, so I won't go too far into that. I do know that we will be sending out to the Board of Directors later in May the max loss assessment information like we did last year. I was informed that there was a slight increase on the figures per building, so we'll be updating those with USI, and we'll be able to send those out once we have those. And another quick note, I'll be mentioning at the membership meeting, since a lot of new board members out there about the hurricane deductible fund. So if you're not quite sure what that is, the insurance deductible fund, not the hurricane deductible fund. The insurance deductible fund is something it's provided through the Federation and administered with First Service. So if you're not sure what that is, please reach out to your CAM or myself, and we'll be happy to update you on what coverage that is and how that helps your association in the event of a property loss. Pest control is still inside the 3-day window for the month of March. Trash collection, we had an update with the board earlier this week on the FCC situation, especially with the trash and then the recycling. So we had an information sent out to all the board of directors about their options on the commercial side with recycling, as well as just updating everybody that the new dates for the commercial side is still Wednesday and Saturday for trash pickup and Thursdays for recycle. This doesn't affect the residential side, so those folks that have county bins and pay through their taxes, those are still Wednesday and Saturday pickup for trash and Saturday pickup for recycling. So, Spectrum, the board will be meeting with the committee and Spectrum soon to kind of go over the proposal for the new contract. It's in the final year of the contract now, and that we hit April, so we'll be able to go deep dive into that and see how that looks for the community and what they're offering. Landscape vendors, the official contracts start today. They are wrapping up the remaining of their service week. It is raining out there, so they'll be getting what they can today. We had a really nice pre-launch meeting. Went over the last grading meeting this past Wednesday and talked about pre-existing conditions and deficiencies, so as we wrap up those items. And lastly, we had a really great turnout yesterday for the vendor meet and greet in the Waterside room. Everybody was able to meet the new vendors and turn into a little Q&A session, so it was actually a good turnout and a good meeting. The next grading meeting will be April 27th with OLM and First Service. The workshop that we hold, we'll still have one in April, and this is going to focus on the landscape grading process. So we'll be able to go over with any board members or POCs that are interested in how that grading process works, a little bit deeper dive, and then we'll also go over the POC work order process for any new POCs or board members. Palm and oak tree trimming, we're still inside the annual trimming. They're moving through the last part of section 4, and we'll be heading into section 3. The March maintenance had pushed around a little bit yesterday and probably today, so we'll have them back in a couple days next week to continue the March maintenance. Mulch, we had the spring mulch occurring, again with a couple of the rain delays and wind. I'm sure that the vendor's going to get pushed a day or so on that, but we have 12 properties that are going to be mulched for spring, and that'll occur the middle of next week and the following week, depending on the type of mulch you ordered. Work orders for March were 41, so we had a big uptick in work orders for the month of March. As the board can see there, you can kind of see the variety per section. And half of them were about for requests. And we had a couple pruning, 8 damages, which is high, and 7 clean requests. I know that's probably for oak tree leaves. And that's generally the report. I don't have any other questions, and I'm happy to answer.
The board have any questions?
Yes, of the work order breakdown, how much of that is the pruning regarding trees, or is that regarding shrubberies?
That is pruning for just the landscaping companies.
Okay, so it's not...
They may miss this bush or get it back away from the house. Those are generally what those are.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion with Keith or questions for Keith? Then, thank you, Keith. Appreciate your report. Generally, on our agenda is committee reports, and seeing we basically have all new committees, it would be kind of hard to ask any given individual, except maybe Barbara, to give a report. Ray, I don't believe you've had the opportunity to even close out the year-end financials, so you wouldn't have a treasurer's report this month, correct? Barbara, do you have anything on the CPC?
I'm willing to forego this one.
I will tell you, and Barbara's being modest, Barbara has forwarded to all the new board members the proposed website that they're working on for their review. She has got back in a couple of comments from the board. So, Barbara, you are working on it, and I do appreciate the effort you made in getting out to all the board members so they can review that website, which is currently in a beta test. Takes it to the President's report. One, I would like to thank the board for their diligence and time this week. The new board has spent considerable amount of time going over everything that is going on within the Federation board. We spent almost one whole day just going over, this was spread over a few days, just covering things that are currently going on with different vendors, as Keith noted that he had given a update to the board on FCC and the commercial contract, and it was bringing the board up to date on the various issues which we've been working on. So I would like to extend my appreciation for the board members because they put in a lot of time this week. One of the new board members said to me, I thought you were joking when you asked if we had 20 hours a week to spend on the Federation board. And he said, I found out you're not really joking at all. And I said, welcome to the Federation board. We're here to serve the residents of the community, which he agreed. At this time, I'm going to announce the committee assignments for the 22-23 year. In regard to the insurance committee, Janice Kincaid will be the, and I'm going to call her honorary chair of the insurance committee. As she mentioned last Friday at the membership meeting, she wanted to see the insurance through. I believe the committee members will basically stay the same. And after we put into effect hopefully put into effect the contract for the insurance, the chair will be, the new chair of the insurance committee will be Ray Hunsaker, who has been working on the committee for the past couple of years. And also the vice chair of the committee will be Ray Shaw, who has extensive background in the insurance industry. And I believe the members of the existing committee will remain the same, but it's up to the two chairs if they want to change any of that. In regard to the Palm and Tree Committee, the Palm and Tree Committee is being disbanded, and the Lawn and Landscape Committee will now include the palm and tree pruning. The chairman of that committee will remain to be Dave McGraw, who has done an exceptional job on the Lawn and Landscape Committee, and the board liaison / vice chair will be Tom Ricketts. That committee, and talking to Dave McGraw, will stay the same, and he will be adding a couple individuals that he can work with from a committee perspective to handle the palm and tree. In regard to the Health and Safety Committee, the chair of that committee will be Shirley Bardell, with her extensive background in the health care industry. I think it is appropriate for her to chair that committee, and she willingly accepted that. In regards to the Contracts Committee, the chair will be Dan Hector, and the vice chair will be Barbara Sarve, which is the current makeup of that committee, and it will continue. That takes us to the Community Promotions Committee, better known as the CPC. There are co-chairs of that committee, one being Barbara Sarve, and the second one will be Jim Gundry. They will co-chair that committee. Jim Gundry has been added to that committee at the request of Barbara, who has been working diligently on it, because Jim Gundry does have background in marketing. So, Jim, I thank you for picking up that responsibility and working with Barbara on it. So thank you. It's Government Relations Committee. There are co-chairs of that committee. The co-chairs will be Shirley Bardell and Ray Shaw. The Finance Committee, the chair will be Ray Hunsaker, who will be working with Alan Hahn in transitioning that committee over to Ray, along with his responsibilities as treasurer. The Standing Elections Committee for the 22-23 year will be made up of chair, who will be Ray Hunsaker, and the other two members are Ray Shaw and Sue Martucci. That committee is limited only to members who are not in their last year of their term. So there was only 4 available board members that could serve on that committee. So Ray would be the chair. The other 2 committees are Ray Shaw and Sue Martucci. And that does it for the committee assignments for the 22-23 year. In regard to the RFEC, there were 2 open positions, Region 1 and Region 2. We only had applications from 1 individual in Region 1 and 1 individual in Region 2. In Region 1, appointed to continue to sit on the RFEC will be Vicki Ryan. And in Region 2, and welcoming him back after a 2-year leave, will be Terry Blankenship in Region 2. The last announcement I have is on the Rules and Reg Association, of which the board appoints a member to the Rules and Reg Association, and for the 22-23 year and forward, unless changed by a future board, Dave Popovich is the representative being appointed to that board on an official basis. That position serves at the discretion of the board. And Dave Popovich has been doing work in the background with the Rules and Regs Association, and it was only fitting that he become the actual appointed trustee member. I know he has done a lot of work working with Ginger and with Del Dewar on that association. And I spoke to Ginger and told her we were making it official to have Dave Popovich be the trust representative. And that takes it to mine. I know that's a lot of committees and a lot of representatives that get, we try to spread the work around amongst all the board members. So that leaves it open. Nothing is cast in concrete, and as we go through the 22-23 year, some of the chairs may change. Some people may decide they want to get involved. Board members may decide they want to get involved. If any member is interested in joining any of the committees, if you would contact Ma Bell, she will put you in contact with the appropriate individual who chairs that committee and forwarded your information to them so they can contact you. With that, we will move to open forum, and there is no one signed up to open forum. So therefore, we have no unfinished business. Therefore, we will move to new business, and prior to doing the agenda items, Ginger has a proposal from the Land Trust to the board, and I will turn it over to Ginger so we can address her issue.
Thank you. All right, this is a proposal to delay the project of the 25-ton HVAC unit at the South Club because it's not here yet, and move it into the 22-23 year, which is today. It begins today, and in conjunction with delaying the project, we move the funding for that as well. So formally, it says Vesta is proposing to delay the capital project of the 25-ton HVAC unit replacement at the South Club that is scheduled in this fiscal year of 21-22 to the upcoming fiscal year of 22-23. This project encompasses the replacement of the downstairs common area unit, and the delay occurred because the vendor reported that the original unit that was ordered arrived damaged. A new unit was immediately ordered and is in transit but did not arrive prior to the end of this fiscal year. The projected completion date for this will be estimated whenever it arrives, and hopefully by the end, before the end of June 2022. So the approved budgeted amount for this project was $39,800, and our recommendation in conjunction with postponing the project is to formally earmark the unspent funds when they would normally be relocated to the surplus cash from prior year's account, and this will ensure that the budgeted $39,800 remains for the 25-ton HVAC unit replacement.
I move that the Federation Board approve the transfer of the budgeted and encumbered amount of $39,800 that would be moved to the surplus cash for the 22-23 fiscal year, and it be earmarked specifically for the replacement in the South Club of the downstairs air conditioning system. Thank you, Dan. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Then, Ginger, would you make sure that money is moved down to the excess cash, surplus cash for the 22-23
Footnote number
year?
3.
Note number 3.
I apologize to the board. I was sitting here with these in my handy-dandy little packet here, so you got that after I read it.
That's
Sorry.
okay.
And thank you.
I'm going to change the agenda just slightly. On the new business is the approval by the board of the insurance policies and pricings effective April 15th of 2022 for the 22-23 year. But there's also an item on the agenda for the approval of the Federation Board of Directors meeting dates, which is all included in your package. And I would entertain a motion to approve the dates which seem to be consistent with the first Friday of the month, which has been historically what the dates are. Thank you, Dan. Second? Thank you, Ray. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Then the Board of Directors Federation meeting is established and approved. That will take us to the approval of the 22-23 insurance pricing and policies, which would be effective April 15th of this year. Just to let you know, if the board approves the pricing, there will be a special membership meeting of which notice will go out today. That special membership meeting will be held on April 11th at 9:30 in the theater, correct, Mabel? It is a Monday, and it is a special board meeting solely for the review of the insurance. So way down at the end of the table, I think, is Adam Lopeton from, oh, you're over there. You moved already. Well, you just have to get
After
the hang
3
of
years,
it.
I'm getting the hang of it here. Good morning. Thank you, Jack. Great to see everybody again. For those that don't know me, my name is Adam Lopatin. I run the condo division for USI Insurance Services. We are your insurance professional. A couple of quick notes. I did get a text a few minutes ago that Tom Brady was traded to the Dolphins for 4 number-1 draft picks, but it was an April Fool's joke, so I know I fell for that. But on a not a good note, I mean, I'm sure everybody's been reading about the insurance and what's going on in the insurance marketplace. It is a complete disaster, especially in Florida. In the Tampa Bay Times on March 16th was an article about the insurance crisis in Florida. And we just got done with our legislative session and nothing was passed as well. I don't think they're going to have a special session due to the election year. So they're going to kick that can down the road till next year. So no quick fixes. I do have some relatively good news for you all. Based on our hard work and Janice's committee's hard work, we're able to come in under budget. Still a significant increase of roughly 18%, but about $30,000 under budget. And I'll kind of take you quickly through the overall insurance and touch on some of the changes. The largest part or premium of our cost is the property insurance. Currently, we're paying $3,457,389 for our total property insurance. That carrier's Heritage. They are an admitted Demotech rated company in Florida, protected by the Florida Insurance Guarantee Act. That premium is going to $4,072,691, which is an increase below what we are seeing in the marketplace, but an increase. It's about a 49-cent rate when you divide the premium by the total insured value. Just to let you know, because of the bulk purchasing power of the Federation, that premium is about half of what you were paying if you were a single condo located at this location looking to buy insurance on your own. Those rates are going about 90 to $1. And again, not taking into consideration age of roofs, sinkhole coverage, and all the bells and whistles you get with this current product. The deductible remained the same. It's a $5,000 all perils deductible. So fire, water damage, that deductible is $5,000. It does include true sinkhole coverage, same deductible, 3%. The hurricane calendar year deductible is the same as it currently is, which is 5%. It does include the carports. A lot of carriers are not insuring carports going forward, but our policy still does include carports. We will be sending out to all the presidents of all the associations a hurricane deductible assessment letter, so you can disseminate to all your unit owners what their maximum out-of-pocket costs would be due to an assessment if we get hit by a hurricane. It does include ordinance of law coverage. It does include wind-driven rain, sewers, backups, and drains, mold coverage, equipment breakdown. This is a big win that we got this year as well. Obviously, everybody's aware of costs are increasing, replacement costs, concrete, lumber, labor. So we are seeing replacement costs for things go up drastically. We were able to negotiate. Our current total insured value is roughly $811 million. Heritage increased that value by 2%, or roughly $16 million, to $828 million, and still kept the premium at an increase, but did not add that to the increase, which is great because next year we will be due for a new appraisal. By Florida statute, we're required to get an appraisal every 36 months. So just keep in mind, even if our rate stays the same next year, if our values go up 10 or 15%, the overall property premium will go up 10 or 15%. And we're not anticipating rates to remain flat next year. So that's something that Ray times two, Ray and I and the committee are going to have to deal with when we're working on budgeting. Any questions on the property insurance? Also, on the property placement, it's one of only two coverages that every association has their own policy. It's a separate policy for each association. Going down to any questions from the board or comments? Okay. I know that you guys have heard this multiple times. Next is the liability insurance. Coastal Insurance Underwriters is the managing general underwriter for that program. They did switch carriers from Aspen Specialty to Trisura. Trisura is an A-rated carrier by AM Best. That premium did increase, but again, well below the marketplace. Our loss history on the general liability has been excellent the past few years, so that's why we're able to get an increase, but less than the market. And again, if you divide that by the number of units, it's roughly around less than $60 per unit cost. Most associations in Florida are paying, on the West Coast, are paying between $100 and $200 per unit. And on the East Coast, Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach, those costs are rising to $300 to $350 per unit on general liability costs. So again, the bulk purchasing power of the Federation was able to get that premium lower than you would be able to get. It is $1 million per occurrence, $2 million per policy period with a $1,000 deductible. Defense costs are outside the limit, so unlimited defense costs, no limit on defense. The next is the crime coverage and the excess crime that is required by statute as well. Those premiums remain flat. Mabel, if you could adjust the screen a little bit. You can't? Oh, Keith, sorry about that. The next is a D&O coverage. Again, that switched from Aspen to Trisura. This year, like last year, we made a big improvement on the directors and officers coverage. Previously to last year, you had Travelers as your D&O carrier. It was one policy for all 114 entities with a $2 million limit that was shared among all 114 entities, and defense costs were inside the limit, so that all the defense costs eroded the limit. Last year, Travelers non-renewed us due to losses, and we moved everybody to Aspen and now Trisura. Everybody has their own D&O policy or directors and officers policy with their own $1 million limit, and defense costs are outside the limit. So everybody's no longer sharing in their own limit. Everybody doesn't have their own policy. So much better coverage and much broader coverage, and so this year as well as last year. Next is the umbrella coverage. Umbrella rates are going up like the rest of the marketplace because more claims are piercing the umbrella. Kind of call that social inflation, where verdicts are getting bigger and more verdicts are piercing umbrellas, so umbrellas are more difficult to get. You did experience a larger increase on your umbrella premium this year than you did, than normal clients did due to your claims activity. There was a claim that Travelers is covering that Travelers required us to put the umbrella carrier on notice. So we put the umbrella carrier on notice, and obviously that was an issue, and there was a lot of significant negotiations going back between my team and National Surety about that. Originally, they were going to non-renew it. I won't go into all the details, but that did increase larger than normal increases due to potential of a claim and claims activity. The workers' comp is the one coverage that did go down. That is $599 per association, not a big number. Cyber coverage went up less than we're seeing in the marketplace, but the cyber community is seeing significant claims. I'm sure you're reading about it all the time. Ransomware, ransom demands is significant losses and will be going forward. So that's going to continue to be a tough product for us to place. But overall, if you look at your current premium is roughly $4,081,000. The renewal premiums through the best companies that we bid out was $4,823,000. So yes, a large increase, but it could have been significantly worse with less coverage, and we came under budget. Any questions?
The umbrella carrier policy,
Yes.
there was one claim sent to the umbrella carrier policy, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was due to Travelers informing us to send it to the umbrella carrier due to the master lawsuit.
That's correct. That's correct.
Do we know what it would have been if we had not had to?
Yeah, I
take
would
that
probably
claim?
say you would have paid, it probably cost us about $50,000 in additional premium due to the claims activity on the umbrella. So we would have come in around $80,000 under budget instead of roughly 30. And these claims stay on our loss records for 5 years. So whenever we have a claim, when we go out and send the bid packages out, the carriers, those claims will be on our loss information for 5 years. They don't go away after 1 year or when they're closed.
If I could,
What happens I know Travelers required us to take it to the umbrella carrier. What happens if it never utilizes the umbrella carrier?
Yeah, it probably won't, based on, I don't think it will, but it could. But still, the umbrella is the last part of the program we negotiate, because they wait for the underlying coverages to be placed, but they look at claims activity. And the more claims activity you have under your directors and officers and your general liability, the more likelihood they're going to have an umbrella loss. So it doesn't matter if it pierces the umbrella or not, they look at activity. Ray, do you have a question?
I just had a comment. In the general liability directors, officers, and umbrella areas, part of the reason this is occurring, correct me if I got the numbers wrong, but in the state of Florida, of all the liability claims in the United States, somewhere between 72 and 78% of all those claims occur in Florida, and it goes up every year. I work with lots and lots of senior citizen communities, and what typically happens, I'm not saying it's happened here yet, but I'll have a claim at a pool, and someone will fall down, and I guarantee, and this happens in senior centers areas very close to us, because I go there a lot. Within a few months, someone else falls down, and then someone else falls down, and someone else falls down, because they discover they can get 10, 15,000, if you, I shouldn't go into that. You can get a lot of money for false claims, and they happen. So part of the reason that the rates have gone up in those areas, I would think, is because of the experience the state of Florida is having.
Yeah, I mean, Florida is getting hit harder. Rates are going up throughout the country, but Florida is getting hit significantly harder due to the litigation we have and the laws we have here. If you look at the total homeowners premium Florida pays, roughly 9% of the overall premiums paid for homeowners insurance in the country, but Florida makes up 78% of the overall property lawsuits. So we live in a very litigious state, and therefore our rates will be higher. The only way rates go down, if carriers start making money. If carriers make money, they will come back in the state, and they want to make money, right? So they're going to write property premiums or liability premiums where they can make money. If they can't make money, they're going to go insolvent, they're going to pull out of the state. Right now, there's only 4 good general liability carriers writing coverage for condos in Florida. We're with one of them. We have an excellent loss history, thanks to Keith and his team. As long as that stays the same, we will continue to get the best-in-class rates. They'll still go up if the marketplace is hard, but we're getting the best coverage.
Anybody reads the Tampa Bay Times, which this morning had an article, and I don't know if you saw it, there was another property and casualty company that Demotech downgraded, and basically downgraded due to their financial stability. And basically it said in the article that those customers are either going to have to find a new insurance company or go under the state insurance company, Citizens, that they operate. So it is a rolling pattern that a number of companies have gone out. Our previous carrier that served the Federation Board, AmCap, bank basically went out of business.
Yeah,
We're
AmCap
seeing
was
them.
Jack, AmCap was an A-rated AM Best company, was our property carrier up until we became your insurance professional. They are out of business. And just think about it. We haven't had a hurricane hit Florida since 2017, and these companies are still going out of business. And that's due to sinkhole claims and losses still coming from Irma. So it's not a good situation. I mean, I can sit up here and tell you, but this is a great result for you guys. We'll be working on, we're already probably thinking about next year, but a lot of work went into this, and thanks Brian and Janice and her team. I'm sorry to see Janice go. She's been a great supporter of ours and a great partner for ours, and I'll miss working with her, but we'll still stay in touch, and looking forward to working with Ray and Ray. That's really, any other questions? Mabel, any questions?
Then I will entertain a motion to approve and forward to the membership the proposed policies and premiums for $8,823,985.58. $4 million, what did I say? No, $4,823,985. Can I have a motion from the board? Thank you. Second, G. Ray? Thank you. Any discussion? The only discussion I have is, I know, Adam, you and I have had numerous conversations, and I know specifically the worst timing ever came from travelers notifying us to take it. We don't have a choice to
Correct.
take it. They notified us to take it, and that was in March they notified us, right when we're negotiating our umbrella policy. We get the notification from travelers, you must take it to your umbrella. I know that was a headache and a nightmare for you in the negotiations with the umbrella policy, but I want to thank you. Second year in a row, you have brought it under budget. It's a great credit to the insurance committee on what to budget, and to be able to bring it under budget. I really appreciate the effort that USI put into this.
Thank you.
Very good job.
Thank you, Jack.
Jack, could I make one more comment?
Certainly can.
For those of you who are representing different associations, maybe a way to explain this to the people in your association is this premium, it comes out roughly to $862 per unit. I moved here 8 years ago, and between what I'm paying now for myself for the insurance on my condominium plus this, it's $300 less than I paid in Clearwater. This is really a pretty good deal. I know it's a lot of money, but it's a pretty good deal.
Hearing no other discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving the insurance policies and premiums and forwarding to the membership for approval, say aye. Opposed? Then the insurance premium and policies will be forwarded to the membership for a special membership meeting for approval on April 11th at 9:30 in the theater. And Ma Bell will send out notice today along with the slideshow, or the given slide that is on there. It will be attached to the notice, correct, Ma Bell? Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, we have no other items on the agenda, and I will open the floor up for any good and welfare announcements, if there are any. You're giving a break to the new board. Yes, Mr. Rob, and can you come over to the mic over here?
Question, not a comment. Is that in order or out of order?
You can ask a question.
Would one of you insurance professionals please help me connect the dots? Maybe that's Jack or Ray or Ray.
I am far from an insurance professional.
Okay. All right. So, general liability policy has a cap of $1 million per incident, correct? And another association called the Master Association sued us and First Service, I believe. And they're suing us for more than $1 million, correct?
Can you use the word federation and not us?
Okay. All right.
Because who's us? Us
Okay.
is the
Correction, thank you, sorry. So the Master Association is suing the Federation of Associations for an amount in excess of $1 million,
Correct.
therefore piercing the $1 million general liability limit.
So that is a directors and officers claim. The directors and officers limit with travelers was $2 million. So defense costs inside the limit, so all the defense costs erodes that limit. The demand by well, I'll let Jack go into details. So, but if that claim and defense costs appears or could exceed $2 million, then that would go into the umbrella.
So the general liability carrier directed,
The director's office is separate policy, directors and officers.
Directors and officers
I'm sorry,
policy.
the D&O policy, the carrier directed the board to, or somebody to report.
Directed me.
Directed you to report that
That's correct.
to the umbrella liability carrier who is laying above that.
That's
stacked
correct.
above that, correct?
That's
That is
correct.
Which caused that carrier to non-renew.
No, the umbrella carrier was
no.
originally going to non-renew, but after lots of conversations and back and forth, they offered a renewal at an increase, in my opinion, that was $50,000 more than it would have been if there was no, if we did not put them on notice or if there was no claims activity.
So it was, but somebody canceled. It was the D&O carrier?
So 2 years ago, when Travelers was a D&O policy, due to all the claims and that activity, they non-renewed the directors and officers policy, which cost us more money last year.
And Bill, I will tell you that the reason Travelers informed USI to refer it is because the claim from the master for their lawyer fees, copying fees, and other things was over $1.9 million in claims, of which the master contended that they had expenses or would have expenses of over $1.6 million for copying of records. That is the reason when you file a claim and you haven't even included damages in that claim, and your claim is over 1.9 million of a $2 million policy, they're going to say, we're going to hit above 2 million. That's what Travelers was concerned about. Go to the umbrella carrier and advise the umbrella carrier. I think with some of the conversations that Adam had, Adam raised the questionability of almost $1.7 million for copying of records.
Correct.
The comment by our attorney was, are they going to basically carve them in granite for almost $1.7 million? But that is their claim. That's what they sent to Travelers as a part of their claim. It is yet to be seen what that'll settle for.
But as a result, the umbrella liability renewal was approximately, in your best professional estimate, $50,000 higher than it would have been otherwise.
Yes, and significantly more hours of my team's time. I mean, that's what we get paid for, but yes. Besides, it was time and cost to ultimately the Federation. And last year, the Travelers program was significantly, I think we were paying $25,000 for the single policy, even though I didn't think that was the best way to cover all the entities, and we put it to where I think is the better way, where everybody has their own policy. But that policy was only $25,000. We ended up paying $100,000. So last year that cost us $75,000 to $100,000 more money because Travelers non-renewed. That being said, I think the way the program is set up now, where everybody has their own policies, is better for everybody. I don't like a limit commingle with everybody else.
And who pays that extra 50 or extra 75,000?
It's
The residents of the
The
community.
unit owners, right. Thank you. Where did I get this?
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion from the board to adjourn. Thank you, Tom. Second, thank you, Dan. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Then the meeting is adjourned.